Amy met with Beyond Stillness over the course of 5 weeks to articulate and publicly share this story of wisdom, purpose, connection, and hope. To learn more about our programs, services, or to sponsor a guest on their story crafting journey, please visit www.beyondstillness.org. This story is presented in partnership with Santa Clara County's Stroke Awareness Foundation. We're honored to amplify voices from Santa Clara County and the surrounding areas. Visit www.strokeinfo.org to learn more. This week on Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke, we welcome guest Amy Kay. After illness in 2009, she began navigating a confusing fog of fatigue, memory loss, and a long road to recovery following a subarachnoid hemorrhage. Once a high-achieving professional with boundless energy, she slowly rebuilt her life and reclaimed her sense of self. In this powerful episode, Amy shares how she transformed pain into purpose through curiosity, community, and fierce determination. Thank you for joining us for part 1, Amy Kay's story. Hello and welcome to Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke. Stroke offers a powerful, life-changing shift in perspective. Each colorful memory creates a parable for life's greater teachings, a compass for journeys ahead, and inspired wisdom for unique growth. Beyond Stillness offers a moment of pause for storytelling and reflection. Ultimately, we create a welcoming environment that reveres the moment beyond stroke's paralysis. Still moments unite humanity and divinity. I'm your host, Molly Bucola. As we begin today, we take a moment of pause, a moment to honor the way that wisdom has emerged through recovery. And we give thanks. Now, Amy's story.
November 1st, 2009. I woke up with a fever. It was H1N1, the swine flu. You'll be fine in a week, my doctor said. I had not been sick in nearly 20 years. There was no reason to believe this flu would take me down, but it did. As predicted, I recovered from the flu in about a week, but the pressure in my head that remained was undeniable. I was confused, lacked focus, and couldn't concentrate. My still trapped memory had become a sieve. Daily conference calls became a blur. When the meetings ended, I would look down at my notes for action steps and expected follow-ups, but the page would be blank. My client called, "You didn't follow through. You seem indifferent. Is your attention divided between us and another client?" It was not. We met for lunch to discuss my seeming apathy in January of 2010. As we sat across from each other at the table, I frantically wrote down every word out of his mouth. He exclaimed, "Stop writing and just have a conversation with me." I knew this wasn't possible. I needed the notes to help me remember what was being said. He called the following week, yelling at me again for not following through. I stopped him and said, "I can hear you're upset with me, but I cannot understand a word you're saying. I'm going to need to call you back." It had become a challenge for me to process conversation. For the next 8 months, the intense pressure in my head continued, as did the lack of focus, stimulation overwhelm, and short-term memory challenges. Somehow, I had gone from being the healthiest person everyone knew to being the sickest person everyone knew. I saw my doctor 6 times in 8 weeks when I normally saw him once a year for my annual physical. Following each appointment and test, I'd get the call that everything is normal. but I knew something was not right. I couldn't hear the doctor's response again. I stopped the visits and I decided I was going to power through whatever was going on with me. I continued to work, which included cross-country travel several times a month. I also tried to keep up with my regular workout routine. There were times I was so fatigued I couldn't lift my arm and hold it up. I was working 12 hours a day and not able to keep my head above water. August 23rd, 2010. I went to the gym after work. I ran on the treadmill and then laid on the bench with weights above my head. Suddenly, I heard a snap and felt intense pain in the back of my head that shot up over the top. My vision narrowed and sound muted. It felt like someone was pounding the top of my head with an iron skillet and on the back of my head with a crowbar. I was stunned. I didn't know what was happening. Ironically, the move I was doing is called skull crushers. I made my way out to the car and started driving home. In retrospect, probably not the best decision. While merging onto the freeway, I tried to check over my shoulder for cars, but my neck had stiffened. I stayed on the shoulder and rolled to the next exit. I stopped the car, opened the door, and vomited. I sat up, closed the door, put my hands on the steering wheel, looked straight ahead, and willed myself home using surface streets for the 2 remaining miles. When I entered my house, I shut the door behind me, but left it unlocked. I knew someone was going to have to come in. I laid on the floor and called my boyfriend. I'm an hour away. Take some Advil. I'll be there soon. I crawled to the bathroom, took Advil, and promptly threw it up. I laid my head on the floor. When he entered the house, he found me on the floor of the bathroom. I vomited once more, was carried to the car, and rushed to Good Samaritan Hospital. They immediately whisked me into a CT scan. The smell of the nurse's perfume made me vomit for a 4th time. As the pain meds began to kick in, I heard the doctor announce, her CT scan shows blood on her brain. I immediately disassociated and thought, wow, that sucks for that person. My next memory was 3 hours later. My brother was there and I was being admitted to the ICU. I awoke the next morning to a bevy of doctors talking around my bed. This is why I don't work out, I heard one of them say. Next, a whirlwind of MRIs and angiogram, TCDs, and people looking at me. They called it perimesencephalic non-aneurysmal subarachnoid hemorrhage. The tests never revealed the cause of my bleed. But this diagnosis put a framework around what had been happening with me. This is why I was so confused, lacked focus, attention to detail, and was unable to keep my head above water. 10 months earlier, I was a solid, efficient worker. Now I needed to know what to do to get better. My mom arrived that night. She entered the room and took over. She was so strong. I was so incredibly relieved to see her. I hadn't eaten anything in over a day, and she fed me little bites of meatloaf. When the nurse said visiting hours were over, she asked for a recliner. After a week in the hospital, my mom agreed to stay and be my caregiver. I was discharged to go home. Full recovery in 2 weeks, they predicted. Then, full recovery in 3 months, they predicted. Then, full recovery in 6 months, they predicted. Then, at 6 months, I was told, this is as good as it's going to get. I refused to accept that response. I am a body in motion. I needed to figure out what I had to do to get better. I was used to working out 2 hours a day, but now I was so broken that after walking only 10 houses down the street, I had to rest before walking home. It was not only physically challenging, but also a challenge to my psyche. The remainder of my day was laying on the couch, either sleeping or staring at the ceiling. This went on for well over a year, but slowly I was able to begin increasing the distance and duration of my walks. 2011 is a blur of doctor appointments, vestibular therapy, and sleeping. I missed the responsibility of my career, but there was no way I was going to be able to return to it. I had always thought of myself as my career, but I was no longer that person. The first thing anyone asks when meeting someone is, "What do you do?" But I didn't know how to answer that question anymore. I was having an identity crisis. I needed to redefine who I was, but how do I do that? I found a therapist who asked me to write down who I was and the things that I'm proud of on a stack of Post-it notes. I wrote them down. I am a daughter. I am an aunt. I am a friend. I self-finance 100% of my education. I've hiked the Grand Canyon and completed a midnight hike up Half Dome. I bought my house in San Jose on my own. The list goes on. I had clipped them together, and every night I read through all of them before bed. I ultimately had to redefine myself, and in doing so, discovered that I am so much more than just what I did for a living. I still have the notes. Over the coming years, I struggled with my balance issues. I have vestibular dysfunction. I literally was nauseous 24/7 for 18 months, and that meant I was constantly fatigued. I can stumble just standing still, and I'm always running into walls, tables, etc. I have the bruises to show for it. I had a choice. I could curl up in the fetal position, or I could choose to get up and keep moving. What pulled me through the tough times was the support of my family and friends and laughter. After all, it's supposed to be the best medicine. I believe it's pivotal in pulling me through this life-altering event. 8 months in, Social Security sent me to a neuropsychologist of their choosing. I met with the person for 1 hour. All my other neuropsych evaluations have lasted 6 to 8 hours. As part of the evaluation, she took apart a 9-piece puzzle and set it in front of me. I had always been good at puzzles, but I could not put this one back together. I was shocked. I had no idea that I could not see patterns. I went home and cried. I gave myself the evening to wallow in this new revelation. I believe it's important to mourn losses before I can begin to heal, but I also believe it's good to set a time limit on the sadness, or I could easily get stuck in it. The next morning, I ordered the game Rush Hour and began working on a 100-piece puzzle. I worked on both every day. It took me about a month to complete the puzzle and several months to work my way through the 5 levels of Rush Hour, from beginner to grandmaster. The next neuropsych I saw commented on the surprising progress I had made in 4 months. I explained the steps I'd taken to improve and that I continued to work on it every day. About 2 years into my recovery, I began attending a support group for young stroke survivors. The group was run by a speech therapist and a social worker. Neither had themselves experienced a brain event. In my business training, I observed focus groups, took facilitation workshops, and spent much of my career in sales. I am skilled at getting people to talk. While attending the group, I noticed when someone would return after a months-long absence, and I would ask what brought them back on this particular day. Usually, when someone came back, it meant they needed support, but they also needed encouragement to talk. I used my professional background to engage the group. The facilitators recognized this and, in time, asked me to serve as the official group facilitator. I jumped at the opportunity because I believe there is tremendous value in talking with people who actually know what you're feeling. There's just this unspoken calm and relief that washes over me when I feel heard and understood. I'm grateful for the opportunity to extend my business skills and create a transformative space for stroke survivors. I found a way to utilize my vast business experience to forge my path in a new direction. My brain hemorrhage taught me so much about myself and exposed strengths that I never knew I had and probably would not have identified if not tested in this way. I have learned that perseverance is deeply ingrained within me. I am positive, determined, and I keep moving forward. I learned to trust my instinct and intuition. I know myself better than anyone, and I knew something was not right with me. Now I will advocate for myself until I get what I believe I need. I have learned patience with myself and with others, and to give myself grace. I give myself time to mourn a loss and space to move forward. My 3 C's, comedy, community, and compassion, have sustained me and feed my soul every day. In redefining myself, I've combined my gifts, talents, and years of experience to serve others with purpose, building community, and leading a support group that offers understanding, fosters resilience, and honors each person's unique path forward. I hope all stroke and TBI survivors commit to recovery with determination and then turn around and inspire others along the way.
Storytelling empowers us to share our experiences in a way that invites others to reflect on their own. In closing, we offer reflection questions as an opportunity to spark dialogue with yourself, friends, family, or fellow stroke survivors. In a moment, I will read questions aloud. You can also find them written in the podcast episode description. Community conversation prompts. In your recovery, what small victories have offered you hope? When you encountered setbacks, what strategies helped you keep moving forward?
Beyond Stillness, Stories After Stroke is made possible by our guests and tax-deductible donations from friends and listeners like you. Join us in empowering stroke survivors with stories of wisdom, purpose, connection, and hope at www.beyondstillness.org.
Thank you for listening to Part 1, Amy Kay's story. Stick with us for Part 2, Amy Kay's interview. Each colorful memory creates a parable for life's greater teachings, a compass for journeys ahead, and inspired wisdom for unique growth. May Amy's journey of rediscovery inspire you to keep finding strength, connection, and purpose on your own path. If you found value in today's episode, please like, share, subscribe, or leave a review so others can find these stories of wisdom, purpose, connection, and hope. And remember, as part of the stroke community, you are more than supportive. You are inspirational. This story was presented in partnership with Santa Clara County's Stroke Awareness Foundation, that's founded on a mission to bring life-saving, standardized stroke treatment to Santa Clara County. Today, all 10 hospitals in Santa Clara County are stroke certified. For over 2 decades, the Stroke Awareness Foundation has raised awareness and empowered the community through education on the warning signs of stroke. The Stroke Awareness Foundation works to reach all of our communities through multilingual BEFAST education. Know the signs, save a life. Recognizing stroke symptoms quickly improves stroke outcomes and can make all the difference. Together, we save lives and improve the health of our community. These are common stroke symptoms. B, fast. B, balance, sudden loss of balance or coordination. E, eyes, sudden trouble seeing in one or both eyes. F, face, facial drooping or uneven smile. A, arms, weakness or numbness in one arm. S, speech, slurred speech or difficulty speaking. T, time to call 911.